This one is from Scott. It says, please do a video on food and fruit combinations, separations and timing. I just feel this is an issue no one seems to be educated on, and this is true, and I should do that. But let me just say real briefly that I really focus on two food combinations that are kind of big no-nos, and that is combining protein and starch. You know, a protein goes to the stomach, you need hydrochloric acid to release pepsin, and so you have an acid experience first. And the reason is obvious, and we've talked about this in past videos, but proteins are very complex structures of amino acids. Base chemistry hasn't got the power to break that apart. You need acid. You need a corrosive acid to come in and start ripping those amino acids apart, at least the polypeptides and peptides, and then it breaks down to the amino acids. It is always, of course, known that it is better to get amino acids straight from the plant instead of what we used to call protein or meat protein as second-hand protein, you know. Fruit and vegetables are first-hand amino acids. Or you can call them proteins if you will, but I think getting out of that whole idea of protein would be very beneficial for the human race. Been a cuss word, really, when you understand that protein is basically what your immune system fights, are proteins. So this is a thing you have to, you know, be careful with. Medical doctors love the word protein, and just the opposite of what they need to like, because that's what's hurting everybody. So, you know, and I think it's a misunderstanding of biochemistry or whatever it is, but no one does well on high protein diets. I mean, you might like the neurotransmitter kick, the epinephrine kick, but after a while, the epinephrine kick will turn into just what you see: extreme acidosis, the destruction of the bowels and kidneys, blah, 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 blah. So, protein and starch. Starch is starts in your mouth with base chemistry, and pancreas finishes it up with base chemistry. You've got about the same digestive enzymes in your mouth as the pancreas. So if you're not digesting well pancreatically, then you want to super chew. You want to start the digestion in your mouth and let it go on to the pancreas and finish up. Now, the other one that I talk about myself is you don't combine fast digesting foods on top of slow ones. That's why the statement, eat melons alone or leave them alone. And it's simply because they're one of the fastest digesting foods on the planet. So when you combine those, let's say, even with, let's say, vegetables, even fruit with vegetables, those vegetables are going to sit there for a long time breaking down the cellulose, and now you got all this fruit sugar sitting on top fermenting. And I've told you stories about how this has created tickets for speeding or drunk driving and other factors. Matter of fact, responsible for an airplane crash in Colombia here about 15 years ago. The FAA considered the pilot's breakfast as part of the problem. They didn't understand it. They couldn't find anything else. They felt alcohol poisoning maybe. So some of these things, when you sift through them, you might find some of these answers. But I'll try to get more on that. Also, I'll say this. If you're taking these real strong herbs, you might want to put some fruit on the belly first and get some fruit in there and then put the herbs on top of that. But fruit, all your fast digesting foods need to go down first and wait about a half hour. You want to feel like you don't have anything in the stomach when you're putting something else back in. You know, and it's going to be a longer time between vegetables than adding fruits than it would be fruits and then adding vegetables. So if you have a fruit meal, about a half hour or so later, you're going to add a vegetable meal. After a vegetable meal, you want to wait well over an hour. And you'll see how all that is. Meats are like vegetables, very hard to digest. They take a long time to digest, things like that. The more complex a food, the more difficulty in digestion. And the human digestive tract is a very simple digestive tract. I consider it one of the simplest over the omnivores, carnivores, and herbivores. So I hope that helps you, Scott. Appreciate it.